Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we got another Mook to review here, a Japanese magazine book here. This is from Model Graphix. This is the Gundam Archives book here for Zeon Mobile Suits. So this is not new. I think this has been out for a number of years. I'm not sure exactly when this came out. But it's new for me. I just recently picked it up. The list price for this is 3,800 yen, so around $35, $40 for this. It's definitely a more expensive one. But there's a lot of really good stuff to see in here, especially if you're a fan of Zeon Mobile Suits, obviously. So we got this beautiful Gelgoog here on the front, and the really nice thing about just having this in like a magazine form, rather than looking at pictures online. I think online it's very easy to just like look at a picture on your phone and think, oh, that looks cool, and not really be able to look at it really in depth. But having it here in the magazine, you can really just take the time to really take the image in and see all these up close details, these little hooks like here on the front of the chest, these little tiny details around the cockpit there, these little tiny fin details like on the back of the head there, the Zeon marking there on the top of the head, which I didn't even notice for a long time. I've seen this build a couple of times, and I've just only recently noticed that it has the Zeon marking there on the top of the head. So these magazines, or these MOOCs, are really cool. Opening it up here to the front, there's a little bit here about some of the other ones in this series of magazines. I think this I Love RGM book is one that I would also like to pick up that I don't have. And here we have the table of contents, as well as another big image there. Same what's on the front of the Gelgoog there. Even has this little tiny detail like right at the very tip of the commander antenna up on there as well too. And this is the Master Grade 2.0, so that's a tiny little detail. It's crazy. It's really cool. But anyway, as you guys will quickly notice, there's a lot to see in this book, a lot to go through. So I'm not going to spend too much time on each build. We'll just kind of make our way through the book. We'll just kind of see how cool everything is in here. And we'll try not to make this video too terribly long. But here we have a Zaku 1 using the HG, the Origin Zaku 1 kit. So there you can see the comparison from the original kit to the customized version over here. Now it looks like there's just basically, it's just painted in different colors, but with these work in progress images you can see just what was done to extend the proportions here in the side skirts, the arms, the body is all extended a little bit upwards as well too. He also changed up the detail by removing some of the detail here on the chest. You can see the detail around there on the skirts is now a little bit different there as well too. So some small adjustments here and there, but makes for a really beautiful looking Zaku 1 there. So we got some more photos of that here on the next page. Really nice looking finish on that too. That just like brand new finish. It looks like there might be a little bit of shading on there. You can see on the tan parts, it does look like it's a little bit pre-shaded, but it's very subtle. It's nothing too much. And then you got that fin there on the back of the Zaku 1 head. Looks really nice. Just this thin, sharp little fin added on there. So that's a really nice addition onto that. Alright, then we have also an HD The Origin kit here, the Zaku 2, based off the Type C, Type C5 kit here as well. We got this in standard Zaku colors of that kind of light and dark green. Once again, over here you can see some pictures comparing the original kit to now this version of the kit. Once again, looking very nice. This one as well, I mean, it's just some small subtle changes, but it makes for a really beautiful looking kit. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is we just go back here to the Zaku. It also tells us which issue this originally came out in. So this is a collection of works in this book. So these are have all been previously featured in different Model Graphix magazines and like their monthly magazines. So this was originally in 2016 in December. This one was originally in 2018 in April there. So here on the next page, you can see a couple of the work in progress photos. And these are really great too for just getting ideas. If you like working on these kits, you can just get some really cool ideas for how to customize and modify your, in this case, your HD Zaku, but of course, for whatever you're making. Some tips here on how to remove that seam line there in the arm, extending the bicep armor a little bit there as well too. I really like this addition of the extra little verniers up there at the top of the backpack. That's a really nice, cool little simple thing that he added on that. Looks really nice. All right, next one from 2015. We've got this Zaku. This one as well from the HD The Origin line. These are not all going to be from the HD The Origin, by the way. We'll just point that out to you. It just seems like these first few are all from the HD The Origin Zaku kits. But this one looks really nice. Really love the just addition of the little white vent there at the bottom of the crotch. Just such a nice little addition onto that. The head also, some interesting modifications to the head, making the visor thinner there. Over here in the work in progress photos, you can see you just added little bits here and there. A lot of people I see modifying the skirt armor on these kits, basically filling out the gap, because the original kit has a little bit kind of a gap there. usually when you're trying to pose the kit. So I see a lot of modelers ending up kind of adding a little bit on the side of that to lessen the gap between the skirt armor there, especially in the front. So interesting. Here you got some comparison images, original and customized. There you can see side to side the work on the not V-fin, commander antenna looks really nice. The new commander antenna that I would imagine probably he just made entirely just out of a plot plate, just completely new. That looks fantastic. Yeah, just the slight changes there to the head, like I mentioned before, the visor. That looks really cool as well too. Just beautiful color on this as well too. It's a really kind of orangey pink kind of color. Looks very nice, salmon kind of color there on that. All right, now this is the version 2.0 Master Grade kit here, it looks like. We've got the Johnny Ridden's high mobility type Zaku 2. And this one is originally from 2008, so this is going way back now. But yeah, that, I mean, it just goes to show how great that kit is. The 2.0 Zaku 2 kit, in my opinion, is still one of the best Master Grades out. It's such an amazing kit. And this one looks very cool as well too. Let's see here on the next page what we got. We got the backside image of that. Also, we got some really slight weathering on this as well too, which looks really nice. Just a little bit of like some streaking effect basically on there. On some bits you can see that, but it's nothing really too crazy. It's not like a bunch of chipping or anything like that all over the place. Just a little bit of chipping on a couple little corners. You can see a little bit around there, like around the feet, and it's basically, yeah, just some kind of like rain streaking or something basically on there, which looks really nice on there. He's also got this custom built rack for the shield as well too. This kit doesn't have that. As far as I know, no Master Grade kit has that rack for the shield to hold the Zaku machine gun, which it looks like he's also customized to be able to be broken down into sections and kind of like folded up there to be stored onto the side of the shield on that rack. So that's a really cool customized weapon there for this. That looks really nice. On the next page here, a counterpart to that is the high mobility type Black Tri-Stars version Zaku 2 here. And pretty cool down here that it includes a little tip on how to do the kind of tubing bits on these kits. The Zaku 2 2.0 kit, as fantastic as it is, can be annoying to work on because of those tubing bits, but showing you this is how I've done it in the past too, so maybe it's just common sense. But you cut off one side, you sand down all the nubs and everything off that, cut the other side, sand down all the nubs off that, roll them all onto the kind of tube piece in the center, and then just glue them in place so they're all stuck there where they need to be. Just stick some glue on there. So pretty cool idea. Then we've got a whole tutorial section here. It looks like, what's this working on? All right, okay, I see. So basically there's a few different things that this is showing. Basically a couple of points here on how to remove the nub marks, it looks like, on this one particular part, essentially. Then this part highlighting how you need to sand really well on the shield to get rid of the sink marks on that. Down here, how to make the skirt armor a little bit wider just by using kind of included pieces of the runner there. How to make the shoulder spike a little bit more pointy just by using pieces of the runner. So you just got some cool tips on that. How to, I guess, paint. It looks like basically kind of reverse wash, it looks like what he's using here, for painting the inside of the little thruster details and things like that. So really cool to have those tips included in there as well. All right, now we've got, this is once again also the Master Grade 2.0, Johnny Ridden's high mobility type Zaku here, but obviously done up in a little bit more kind of, I guess, kind of traditional style. I love the fact that it's got the solid red hands rather than having the fingers actually in gray. That's a pretty cool look to that. I quite like that, having the hands just entirely red. So that's pretty interesting. And I guess the main point of this build is that it's highlighting that it's kind of, I guess, more based off of the original MSV illustration there, which has the solid red hands. And maybe some other aspects of this, I guess, are more closer to this, like the little red lining bit around on the feet, and I guess the markings and everything. Even though it doesn't have necessarily all the markings shown here, I guess it just has some of the lining markings and things around there on it. But I do really love this particular style, with it just being really super clean. You know, even this like hardly has any markings on it except for the little lining bits here and there. But I just love how clean and sharp that looks, and all the colors look really nice and everything. That's my kind of build. All right, let's take a look here. Now we have this in RG form. So here's the RG. You can see how quite different that one is looking as well too. And he's definitely done a lot of work on this one also, adding little details around there, very noticeably on the legs, and maybe some on the upper body there as well too. But this is from 2018 when this kit came out. It's really been that long since this kit came out. I feel like this RG didn't come out that long ago, but I guess it did. So this one as well looking really cool. I love the detail of the thruster bells up inside there. That looks really nice. And we got some more photographs of this over here as well too. It looks like it's using the Bandai marking decal sheet, the waterslide decal sheet that you can buy for this for the MSV Zaku's there, it looks like. A couple more work in progress photos over here. Basically some alterations made to the feet and to the chest, to the head. Once again, he brought the visor to be a little bit more narrower there on the face. It's always kind of a easy way to make the Zaku look a little bit more mean by making the visor more thin. Here we got the Zaku cannon. This one as well seems to be... Oh, this is actually the HG. I was just going to kind of assume that it was the Master Grade, but this is actually an HG kit bash between the Zaku 2 F2, the Zaku Cannon Test Type HG Origin Kit, and then the Goof HG Revive Kit. So very interesting, indeed. And I love the look of the Zaku Cannon here, especially with that black part on the front of the face. If you guys have seen any of my like custom painted Zaku builds, you know I usually do that, or often do that for my custom Zakus. I like having that black part right at the front of the face. I think that looks really cool. So that's definitely taken from the Zaku Cannon here, and this looks like a really, really nice build. Really nice mix of different gray colors there on the backpack. That looks really nice, and a couple little markings there on like the smoke launchers. That looks really cool. We got a bunch more work in progress photos over here. That's nice. You can see the comparison between just the stock kit and then the customized version of the kit here, using some of those Goof and Zaku 2 F2 parts there on basically the skirt armor instead, it looks like. Seeing the unpainted version is a little bit easier to identify which parts came from which, but you can see did a lot of work here on the head as well too. The head looks fantastic on this. And on the arms, the skirt section, the shield connection, he modified that. And the legs, he did a lot of work on the legs, looks like. And over here, it looks like the same combination of kits used to make the spider version. I forget the exact name of this particular version of that. I think something spider, or that's the name of the... Anyway, it's the Ian Graydon Custom. There you go. And I thought it typically has like this big spider logo kind of marking on the front of it. Does it not, or am I thinking of a different one? But anyway, I don't really like this version of the Zaku Cannon as much, this dark green version. I much prefer it in the Desert Unicorn MSV kind of color scheme there. But I do like the bunny ears look for the antenna of some versions of the Zaku Cannon when it has that double antenna on the head. I think it looks really cool. Over here, we got some build using what looks like a combination of the real grade Zaku 2 frame and the old 80s 1/144 scale Zaku Cannon kit. So you can see he basically combined the two of these to make this, which is really, really cool. It still has the look of the old 80s kit, just this kind of old chunky design, not really super detailed. But then you got the really nice frame bits in there where you can see the little aspects of the frame, not really much of it, basically in a couple of the joints you can see the frame there. But obviously the articulation of it is going to be vastly improved by having that whole real grade frame in there. So you can see like the leg is going to have a much more of a bend than the original leg. Probably doesn't have any knee bend at all, or just like a very simple knee bend of probably less than 90 degrees, I would imagine, on that. And so having a full knee bend and all this add articulation in there going to be very cool for this old kit, and it looks really great, especially if you love that old 80s look. Alright, then we got another Zaku Cannon kit bash here, which is another amalgamation of a bunch of parts here. It looks like we got the original old 144 scale Zaku kit, the Zaku 2 F2, the Zaku Mariner, the Gundam Mark II revived version, the original Zaku 2 HGUC kits, and the Goof. So he's using parts from all of those kits to make this beautiful looking Zaku Cannon over here. I really like the color scheme for this too. It's kind of like the desert color scheme, but it's a little bit different. It has some kind of green bits there on the arm and the feet. It's a really interesting MSV color scheme for this, with the black and the tan and the brown and the green. Very cool. So I guess it is based off of this unicorn color scheme there, it looks like, but that's really interesting. All right, so we got a few more pictures of that over here. That looks really nice. Man, I love the Zaku Cannon. Such a cool design. That face, it's just got that angry, very skull-looking face on it. It's really cool. But alright, then we get to the Psychomo System Zaku, one of the designs that I'm really, really hoping someday we'll get a newer, proper kit version of. We do have this old 144 scale kit from the 80s, which, you know, I've seen some cool custom builds of that, but I'm still holding out hope that someday we'll get a proper HGUC kit of this. I think it had a cameo in Thunderbolt. It did well in a kind of recent poll. I think last year or the year before there was a poll and people wanted to see it. So I think it's likely at some point we're probably bound to get a kit of this, a newer kit of this, but you know, fingers crossed. Anyway, this custom build of it looks fantastic. So like I said, every now and then I see some custom builds, and it does look really cool. It's a really interesting, cool design. It's all white with the red stripes on there. It's got the Zaku head with like the extra vents on the side and tracks on the top for the mono-eye. It's sort of like a mashup of like Zeon with the kind of hand and arm shoulder designs there, like a kind of a little bit more Zaku looking head and these big ridiculous like thruster legs. Anyway, showing off here as well too that it's using a bunch of different Bandai's builders parts on this. So the fuel tank parts here on the side of the leg, these hose parts there, these thruster parts here, some panel details. So it's using a bunch of different Bandai's builder parts to make this. So that's pretty cool. Kind of just showing off a lot of the things that you can do with the Bandai parts there, it looks like. So next, I guess it must be Gelgoog time, because we have a bunch of different original Gundam animation Gelgoog stills here. So I guess this is all about the Gelgoog. So I don't know who this is an interview here, I guess, between a couple of people. I'm not sure who it is. None of this is in English, obviously. But here we have another one of my all-time favorite Zeon designs, the Re-Gelgoog. It's such a cool design with those big massive shoulders on the Gelgoog like that. And this is really cool too. It looks like he has his like customized so that they open up like that. That's really interesting. I've never seen this before actually. That's super cool. But this is obviously a work in progress photo here as well as just this big main photograph here. But it's cool to see just a work in progress photo being the kind of big main photograph here for this section, which I guess is going to be about the Re-Gelgoog. So here it is. I'd imagine this interview is maybe talking about just the development of this kit, just working on this kit. But man, the work done on these new massive shoulder bits, that's really impressive. Super cool. And obviously it has a different backpack as well too. So you had a custom build, scratch build that backpack. Ultimately, the work on this looks fantastic. The added bits onto the side of the arm too as well. The Re-Gelgoog has a little bit different kind of parts on there also. The chest is reworked with this center vent kind of sunk into there. That's really interesting. And the front skirt also being modified. Just the modifications is really, really cool. This one as well has just a really slight bit of weathering. You can just see it in like some bits where it's just got some like streaking going on in some bits, but I really love that level of weathering where it's not really hardly noticeable at all. But man, this looks good. Wow. The detail up inside these shoulder parts, that looks so good. That's really, really cool. I love that. So those shoulder parts open up and you can see all that detail up inside of there. He's got all the detail built into those shoulders. It's really cool. I love the extended fin on the back of the Gelgoog's head there. And all the detail up underneath there. It's got just about 1 million thruster bells. All the painted detail up underneath the feet as well too. Looks fantastic. Here we have Johnny Ridden's Gelgoog here, which has this really weird short bazooka weapon that I don't really understand, but it's very unique anyway. And it's got its high mobility type backpack on there as well too. This looks really nice. This one is based off of which kit? This is the HGUC. Ah yes, this is the P Bandai HGUC, I would imagine. When did this come out? This is from when? Maybe this is new to this particular issue or something. It doesn't give the date when this came out, but this was I would imagine this is based off of the premium Bandai kit. I don't think that this bazooka is scratch build. It looks like modified definitely, but I don't think it's entirely scratch build. So I think it's probably using the P Bandai kit that came out that included that weapon. But yeah, looking very cool here. You can see the original versus that. Just the simple addition of a little bit of panel lining on these sections there to break it up. The big massive skirt section and the leg, that looks really nice. A little bit of very fine panel lining on that. Yes, this is really, really going to be great. For some inspiration for painting the inner frame of the clear Zaku kit that I need to get around to finishing. So this will be a very ideal reference for that. So we got a couple of samples here of some painted inner frames of the Gelgoog 2.0, the Zaku 2.0. These are really, really nice. You can see some different variants there. Just really, really cool painting on the inner frame of these. I really like that. And they're also all like panel lined. They got like a wash of brown on this, which looks really cool on the inner frame. That just being all in brown. That looks great. Super cool. And then that's continued here onto the next page. Some more just kind of close-up detail shots of different parts of the frame there. There's the DOM frame, which unfortunately is still at a 1.0. We're still waiting on the 2.0 DOM. And then we have the Yoshiyuki Aihara Strikes book. strikes buck. Oops, someone messed up there. But this, of course, is the same one we saw on the front of the book. It's got this really interesting bit here on the shoulder, which I'm not sure what that's for. And with just like the modified kind of little thruster bells here on the side of the shoulder, those look really interesting. The modifications to this are really, really cool. Here we got the flying image where you can see up underneath the feet. All that detail looks amazing. It actually doesn't have the part for the back of the foot. That's interesting. It's just replaced with some thruster bells on there. These big, massive thruster bells up underneath the back skirt. Just two big ones there instead of, I think, normally it has like 5 little thruster bells up underneath the back skirt. And so it looks like that bit on the top of the shoulder there is just like a mount for when it's carrying this big bazooka kind of looking weapon, which is really interesting design for this bazooka. That's really cool. It's basically just a modified, like, massive beam bazooka used by the Rick Dom, I believe, Master Grade kit, as well as the Psycho Zaku HD kit, or Master Grade kits for Ka also comes with that. So, man, the details on this are really, really interesting. The additions, how he modified the feet. So I said there's no back of the feet. So instead of having a part for the back of the foot, that's replaced with these thruster bells, and he's got an extra kind of like back of the foot kind of part, I guess, kind of back here at like the back of the bell bottoms. That's pretty wild. Definitely really interesting design. So here's a kind of another closer up look at that so you can see what I mean. It's just got this kind of support part here at the back of the leg instead of like the back half of the foot. Very wild, very cool. So I guess this is maybe what he's done with a couple of other kits here as well too. So here's the Rick Dom and the Dom, how he's modified the feet. So I guess he's done the kind of similar style for a couple different builds. Kind of changing up the feet there. So that's really interesting how he modified those for the Rick Dom and the Dom as well too. Really cool. And yeah, that modified beam bazooka, really interesting design on that too. Like I mentioned before, the Zeon logo on the top of the head. I also built this container ship, which I would imagine is probably entirely Scratch Builder. I don't know what that's made of. I guess it must be Scratch Builder or kit bashed with different parts and stuff. That's pretty wild. All right, then we got some more Gelgoog action here. These are obviously old 1/44 scale, or yeah, 1/44 scale and 1/100 scale Gelgoog kits. Just showing us there, and let's see. I guess this is just kind of showing the different old Gelgoog kits. So here's the 160 scale version, Char's version, the 1/44 scale Gelgoog Cannon, the 1/44 scale Johnny Ridden's high mobility type Gelgoog there, and then the 1/44 scale Re-Gelgoog kit there as well. This is pretty cool here, showing the heads of different Zaku kits to come out all kind of throughout the years. So from 1984 to 2004 to 2014. But what doesn't seem to be included in here is the Master Grade 2.0 Yuma Lightnings. Oh, well, just as I was about to mention that, here it is on the next page, so never mind. But basically it's showing off some of the other different versions of the Gelgoog, the 1.0 Master Grade here, which came out in 1996. Way back then. Then we had the 2.0, which came out, looks like, in 2008. Char's 2.0 there. And then, as I was mentioning, the Premium Bandai high mobility type version of that, the Yuma Lightnings version, which is such an awesome kit. And the also Premium Bandai Gelgoog Cannon version 2.0, which is also an awesome kit. Both of these kits, and just the regular 2.0, all such amazing kits. Love them all. Very cool. And then some of the different HGUC variants. We have the F type, the J type. Sorry, this is the J type. This is the Gelgoog Marine over here, of course. And then Char's version, HGUC kit here. And the HGUC Gelgoog Cannon, the HGUC P Bandai kits here. There's a couple of different versions of that. Basically, the Shin Matsunaga version, the Annabelle Gato version. Those are both Premium Bandai variants. As well as the Johnny Ridden version, which I previously mentioned there as well. The P Bandai Re-Gelgoog. Love that kit as well. Alright, so let's take a look at a build here using the old, this is the old 1/44 scale Johnny Ridden's kit here. Beautiful build here of that old classic kit. Ooh, this one looks very cool and mean. This is from 2016 and based off of the Master Grade 2 2.0 kit, but as you can see, it's very heavily customized. So the head is customized a bunch. It's got all this stuff going on there on the backpack. I don't know what all that is, but it looks really cool. And just customized the legs and I don't know, all over the place. It's hardly recognizable as the 2.0 Gelgoog kit. I mean, but it's there on the inside at least, but the exterior is completely modified. So this is really, really interesting. So here we got some work in progress photos, thankfully, so you can see just all the work that was done to that. Building out the side of the legs basically from scratch. The whole torso section is basically all scratch built. The head is very heavily modified there, obviously. So a lot of scratch building and modification on this. Oh, so it looks like this is from Unicorn MSV. Actually, okay, so it's the Desert Gelgoog. Not sure I ever actually have seen this design before, but anyway, very cool Desert Gelgoog kit there, I guess, apparently. So that'd be cool. Hopefully we get an actual kit of that someday. It would be nice. Kind of doubt that'll ever happen, but let's move on here in lineage to the Galbaldi Alpha. We did get the Galbaldi Beta kit, what, about a year or 2 years ago now, I guess it's been. The Galbaldi Alpha. Very weird face on this, but looks like somebody made this based off of the Gyan kit. I mean, it's a cool build. It's certainly a very goofy looking, off-putting face on that, but as far as, I mean, the actual build goes, it does look very nice. So, I mean, props for that. But let's take a look here at the Dom test type. Another one of my favorites from the HG, the Origin line. The Dom test type, a really cool kit. So this looks like a really nice build of that too. I can definitely tell there's some modification going on there with the head being a little bit more kind of sunken into the body, it looks like. So you can see on the original version of the kit, the head is just kind of there, and it's got this goofy kind of nose snoot off the top, off the front of that, but he like kind of built up the chest, I guess, a little bit to kind of hide the snooty nose on that, which is very cool. So you can see it's still there, but it's just kind of hidden behind this added bulked up chest part there, it looks like. So that looks really cool. He also made this custom shield for it, which looks really interesting. Never seen this. It looks like it's a shield based off of this particular version of the Gelgoog there, it looks like, or the Goof, it looks like there, I should say. So it's a really cool shield for this. It doesn't look like it'd be the most difficult thing to scratch build either. You could scratch build that, you know, without too much difficulty. It's a relatively simple angular shape there for that. That said, the inside of it does look very detailed, so he did do a lot of work on the inside of that. That would be a little bit more difficult to pull off, but he did a lot of work on the underside of the skirt sections as well too. So here you can see was cutting out all these bits for the underside of the skirt sections. So wow, that's a lot of work that hardly anyone's ever going to see, but it does look very impressive. So there you go. The Reborn 100 Ifrit Custom here, a really cool design as well too. As much as I love the Ifrit, the bright red and blue colors on it for the Ifrit Custom are not really my favorite color scheme for it. It's a little bit too bright and colorful for my taste, but it does, I mean, this painted build does look really nice. You got some nice kind of subtle weathering on this one once again as well. The Master Grade Dodge, really cool kit as well too. This one looks really nicely done, nicely painted. And some other samples up here of the Dodge Kai. Looks like from 1986. So there's a comparison with that, with the new Master Grade kind of like 1.5 version, basically that Bandai came out with as a P Bandai kit, but that looks really cool. I love the addition of this little white kind of detail on that. I've seen that on a couple of builds we've seen here so far. Like here on this Regelgo kit also had the same kind of like white notched little detail there on the side of that. So I'm guessing the same builder for these. I believe it does say the names of the builders for these, but once again it's all in Japanese, and so I can't read their Japanese names to tell you who built these. But if you're interested in any of them, just send me a message or something. If you're interested in a particular build, I'll translate that and try to get the name for that for you guys. But some detail shots here of the backside and some details of the Dodge looking very cool. Love what he's done with these antenna bits on there. Kind of modified that, changed the look of those antennas on the top of the... That looks really cool, and some more of those kind of white detail parts added on the side of the legs. I'm going to have to try that. It looks really interesting to have those in white on a Zeon kit like this. So a good, interesting idea. I'd like to give that a shot. Alright, now here's a very unique looking Gyan. I guess this is probably something that is actually a canon design. It's not something I've ever seen before. But as far as I know, all the designs in here are based off of canon designs. They're not just like custom builds, you know, just out of nowhere. So this is based off of the HGC Revive Gyan, which was, again, a fantastic kit. And it's got the kind of more slimmed legs. Doesn't have the kind of bell-bottom style legs we typically see on the Gyan. They're not flared out like that. Obviously a very different head here. It's got some more armor on the back and kind of a longer spike up there at the top. Obviously the shoulder armor has also changed quite a bit from the original. It's got just a bunch of shoulder armor, where the original doesn't really have much shoulder armor. It just has like the shoulder, and that's it. And it also has this big beam rifle here, which looks like that's like the Gelgoog Jaeger beam rifle, I want to say. So anyways, it looks familiar. One of those anyway. But pretty interesting take on the Gyan. You got some work in progress photos here showing side-by-side comparisons between the original parts and the newly modified parts. And then the Gyan Krieger. The Gyan Krieger is a design that I definitely do like. So not really a huge fan of the Gyan This one is a little bit better, but the Gyan Krieger probably definitely going to be my favorite version of the Gyan still. So this one as well was a premium Bandai kit, but he's done a lot of work on this one as well too to spice it up. So he's added some bits there on the face, on the shield parts of the face to kind of extend that out a little bit. Looks really cool. And kind of interesting down here, just mentioning about how the Gelgoog upgraded, and this is how the Gyan Krieger is an upgrade to the Gyan, sort of, basically. So for this particular custom version, or I mean just for like the Gyan in general. Alright, so then some more, it looks like it's goof time. We've got some more information here. Theory of MS-07 evolution. We have not played with goof enough, okay? So they say. So we got some introduction here, and then I guess just some development history about the goof. Everything you want to know about the goof. We got some different goof kits and goof illustrations down here at the bottom. The origin version. The goof ignited, and the R35 goof from Gundam Build Fighters. And then just a standard goof. This is the goof revive, using the goof revive kit. And man, for an HG kit, does that look impressive or what? The changes to the thighs and just like the head and everything, the shoulders. This looks really cool. I loved this kit. Still not really a fan of like the original goof, just this kind of all blue design. Loved the goof custom and loved this kit. But this version of it, he definitely did it some justice. It's definitely something a lot more palatable for someone like me from the original kit. But I mean, still looks really, really cool. So you can see customize the hands, customize the little connection piece on the back of the arm. That looks really cool. The little detail added up in that little section there. Here on the arms as well too. And if we got a goof, of course we have to have a dodai. So we got a really cool looking image here of the goof riding on the dodai YS there. So it should be clear about which version of the dodai, I guess. The dodai YS. And it's a really interesting design, man. This would be cool to have a kit of. I definitely like this version of the dodai more than what we typically see as like the dodai Kai, I believe, right? But this appears to be all entirely scratch built, which is pretty impressive. And this is in which particular scale? This is in 1/44 scale, so it's meant to go just with the HG kit there. But here you can see it was with the regular dodai, where it usually rides on top. With this one, it's got like a handle here on the back for just like to hang on to this handle and just be kind of like pulled along there, I guess, which is pretty cool. So just some really interesting work in progress photos showing how this was all scratch built. I got some detail images here of like the landing gear and the vents on that and everything. It's not only beautifully made, but the weathering on it looks amazing as well there too. Then we got some sort of goofy ass goof flight test type thing with these big, massive, just like turbine feet and these foldable, retractable kind of wings. This is crazy looking. I've never seen anything like this before. But again, I'm guessing this is something that is like an actual canon design from some like old MSV book or something like that. But man, those wings being like clear, and then you can see like all the segments of the wings inside there. I forget what there's called an actual name for those parts of the wing. I forget, but very interesting with like how it has like the kind of outer armor of the feet there, but then there's nothing like inside. Basically, it's just this big kind of turbine there, sort of like that for the feet. And then like, what's going on with the hand here? It's like holding something, or what's that in the hand? I can't really quite make out what I'm looking at there. It's just like some like cabling that goes to the hand, which is just, I guess, probably just like a heat knife or something like that, it looks like, as far as I can tell. It does also look like he's got like extendo, like little finger barrel tips there. This really interesting looking shield, which I guess is maybe goes over the top of this hand or something. So, wow, pretty wild design and really amazingly done. All the detail on this, like the detail of the customized parts, the modification, everything, looks pretty amazing. I guess down here is the old illustration of that. So it looks like he made this based off of the goof flight type kit, but man, there's not a whole lot of that left. It looks almost entirely scratch built just because of how customized that is. So here we got some work in progress images of that. Over here, there's a bunch of illustrations, so that's interesting. And then some work in progress photos, how he made the kind of turbine sections and how he made the wings and the hands and all that. It's very impressive. And then we got the origin goof with the kind of replaceable arms. It's a really cool aspect of this kit and this design I've always appreciated. It looks like he's got a flamethrower hand, which I was just talking, who was that, with Josh in a recent episode. I think I was just saying that we don't ever see very many kits or like mobile suit designs with flamethrowers. So that's something that is cool to see on there. Something I'd like to try to work into a future custom build, because we don't ever really see that very often, do we? And he's got the claw hand from the mobile worker there as an option part for that as well too. So really cool, really beautiful build here of that goof. And look, it's a really nice shade of blue too. It's a different color. It's not quite as blue. It's a little bit kind of duller purplish blue kind of color. Looks really nice. There's a kind of detail shot there of the scratch build, basically flamethrower hand, which looks really interesting. So I really like that quite a bit. It's very cool. And then we got the other different goof, Unit 2, I believe this was called. What was this actually technically called? This was another Premium Bandai HG kit here, but looks very cool from Gundam The Origin. I love the colors of this version as well too. Always looks cool in those desert colors. And that is it. So that's the last build here in the book. Once again, we just got an advertisement for a couple of other different Model Graphix books over here. And that's a wrap. So I'm just interested kind of to see what the cover looks like underneath here. Just very simple. So all right, that's it. Anyway guys, so really cool book. Model Graphix comes through once again with some amazing material in there, a lot of inspiration for just ideas. If you guys are into Zeon Mobile Suits, if you're into making custom builds or just like modified builds, just you want to do a little bit more with your different Zeon kits, this is a really great reference for that. I mean, basically it's all One-Year War, so it's not going to be going into some of the later things like the Neo Zeon and things like that, but if you love the Zaku, the Gelgoog, the Gyan a little bit, and the Goof, a lot of really cool stuff to see in here. The Dom as well too. There's a little bit of Dom in there, mostly kind of the Dwaj, I guess. I gotta say, really happy I finally decided to pick up this book. Really great reference for some cool customization ideas for your different Zeon kits. So that's it for the video, guys, for today. If you have any questions or comments, of course, feel free to leave those down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to USA Gundam Store for making it all possible, guys. Check the link to USA Gundam Store there down below. Use my coupon code, get some Zeon kits there for yourself, and get to work on customizing those. You can use my coupon code to save yourself 10% off there, everything on the site. And hope you guys are all having a great day. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.